What's up, guys? Silent Tom here. We're in Games Lab. Got another deck check for you guys. Today it is Jono or Nazae. He's here with his Shadow Paladins. Shadow Paladins are set 4, so getting a bit old, I guess, in Vanguard terms now. But it's a deck that has a lot of tools. Takes a fair bit of skill to really play it well. And really good players will show their true colours with this kind of deck, because it takes a good player to really get the most out of it.
So far, this is my most favorite build of all, the Phantom Blaster Dragon.
So Phantom Blaster Dragon, he's got that huge counterblast, kill 3 of your own dudes, to get that nice big power boost and that crit. So, I mean, on that, is it really? Do you see that as a game-ending ability, or do you see that as kind of a mid-game kind of tempo ability?
I see that kind of like the opportunity where if you see the opportunity rise up when you know that the opponent won't have the null guards or won't have enough guards, you can punish the opponent with the counter blast ability.
Obviously, you got those triggers there. Those are the only triggers you get.
Yes, it's
get
compulsory.
You get one of each. Do you think that's a real weakness for the deck? Do you think it would be better with a different lineup of crits, or?
Well, I would say the stand triggers isn't quite much useful in this deck as much as some other builds, but so I would say either more crits and more draw will make this deck work a lot better.
And especially in your build, you don't really take a lot of benefit from the stand, considering you've only really got the 9Ks to stand up, except for the castle, unless you've got your grade 3s as rear guards, but they're mainly there as vanguards. So we'll go to the grade 1s. You've got a couple of interesting things here. So do you want to go through that?
Alright, first I have 3 McClear because it's the balance numbers of, I feel like that is a balance number of null guards in this deck, so it's not too defensive or not too offensive. And for Javelin, obviously, to try to have the best chance in pulling out the Blaster Dart, as well as it can be used later game for the Phantom Blaster Dragon, as well as wheeling the Phantom Blaster Dragon out from the deck, thinning it out, so you will trigger it more.
Yeah, that's one of the key parts with the Javelin, especially in Shadows, is you can play it, ditch a Shadow, get another one, or ditch a Dark Metal Dragon, get something else, and then he's good sack bait for that for the Phantom Blaster Dragon.
Yes, that's right.
So it more than other decks takes away the disadvantage of him only being 6k as a rear guard. Now, the next one that you've got there, the Guru.
Yes.
Now, this is the interesting one. There was a lot of people said, that wasn't very good because obviously you don't want your grade 1s to be attacking at all most of the time, because they will probably die. So, why have you chosen to play this guy, and why only 2?
Well, Guru Rubao is good. It's good in a way, since how many times can you say that the level 1 can attack the opponent's vanguard?
Sure.
Because most of the time, the level 1 will be at most of 8k. So Guru Rubao gives that power of 9k that is equal to the Walker. So enough power to probably hitting at the 15 or 16 line, so forcing the opponent to use 10k.
So it's more of it's an aggressive choice. Obviously, it's not so bad because it is still 7k. Still can beef up some of your dudes. Maha to 15, and your 9ks to 16.
That's right.
But it means that you have that option there of swinging. If you got a hand full of grade 1s, you can kind of take advantage of it.
That's right.
Now, why haven't you gone for some of the other cards, such as this one we have here? Yep. So she's the shout or the Gojo for Shadow Paladins.
Yes, that's right.
So why haven't you gone for something like her?
Well, I tried to use her several times, but she proved to be more of a defensive choice rather than the offensive one. And this one I kind of balancing the deck into more of a offensive one, but still on the balancing side.
Sure.
Just to be safe.
Sure.
And Antidote is only good for early game when you don't have cards that you need in your hand. So, but become useless later game.
And that's not something that is that's not the be all and end all. Guru Bao is not the flat out better choice. It's just you feel that in your play style, in this deck, that is the better choice for you.
Yes, that's correct.
Alright, so we'll move on to probably the more interesting lineup, and this is where the Shadow Pally deck really gets very dirty with numbers. And that is probably one of the most mind-racking things to deal with when making Shadow Pallies. So
that is correct, Tom.
We'll start at the top. Probably the more interesting one.
Right.
The main?
The main, yes. The main, I only run one, as opposed to most people who ran two.
Yep.
Because as you will probably see, I got a lot of other cards to choose, and I also have the access to the Curse Lancer. So Scout Witch can only afford to be one in there to provide me with the drawing choice. And also I consider the bad part of the Scout Witch as well. True that most people say it can be used to intercept, but it's a large bait for those Vanguard or Rear Guards with the on-hit effect. It will be a large target for him to exploit it. So I try to not to expose it too much, as well as see the situation if I can use it to intercept or not, or just use her ability.
Yeah. It also one of the things that I've noticed is it's people take the opportunity to play a 10k interceptor, something that's 8k, and may not be able to hit anything else, and it'll definitely be able to hit Nazae. Now, the other thing that you have to be aware of, and it goes into probably the next card we'll talk about, the castle, is that Shadow Pallies can get some pretty horrendous draws if they don't get that Javelin. If they can't get their ideal grade 2, which is the Blasted Dart, then you have a 3k grade 2, or you have a 5k grade 2. So all those guys out there running 2 Namains, 3 castles, 4 castles, you can get some pretty horrendous draws, and decks like Nova's, decks with a lot of aggressive grade 1s and a lot of good options for grade 2s will punish you for that.
That's right.
So with the castle, you've only got the 2. Why is that?
I only got 2 because as it says in the ability, it will lose its power if you are not the Blaster Dark or Phantom Blaster Dragon. So I don't really want to risk the chance of it getting into a 5k and swing for only 7k, which is even worse than most of the grade 1 units. So I ran just 2, so it provides me good power as well as not clogging up too much space that can be more reliable than clogging it up, and then you didn't turn out to be the Phantom Blaster Dragon.
So we'll move on from that probably to the most interesting part of the deck. These guys right here, 4 Cursed Lancers. So firstly, how hard was it to get them?
Oh, it is very difficult to get it. I had to look everywhere in the world for this, and I mean seriously. And I was lucky enough to get at the cheapest price, which is buying the CDs instead of rather than the cards, because the cards actually cost more than the CDs.
Yeah. Alright, so okay, so with the Cursed Lancer, we'll just go through, firstly, what are your thoughts in general? Because a lot of people would not have had the chance to test this card out unless they're proxying or playing online. And secondly, how do you feel it goes in this deck, and why have you chosen to run 4 of them?
Alright, in my opinion, Cursed Lancer is actually one of the most staple card in my opinion for the Shadow Paladin, because Shadow Paladin decks mostly with every run you'll be spending a lot of counterblast. Most of the cards rely on counterblast as well. Like Maha requires 1, requires 2, I mean the counterblast, and then the Blaster Dark requires 2 for the counterblast, and then the main requires 1 for the counterblast. Then as well as Phantom Blaster Dark requires 2 for the counterblast.
Yep.
And then the Cushion, the Demon of the Silver Spear, it also, if you run it, it will require the 2 counterblast as well. So it's a really counterblast heavy deck.
Yep.
And Curse Lancer provides a great threat because it's a 9k and just a slight boost to it. It can hit for 15 or 16,
Yep.
which is ideal to hit at the Vanguard.
Yep.
And also its ability, when it hits the Vanguard, it unflips one of your damage, which will in turn allows you to counterblast more,
Yeah.
which will deal a lot more damage to the opponent and punish him further as well for leaving the Curse Lancer to hit him.
Yeah. The main thing with these kinds of decks, and it's something that I mean, with comic styles just out, Kagura has just got Velocity Dragon. So the main thing is you don't expect to unflip 3 damage. You don't expect him to hit 3 times. But
No.
if you unflip 1 damage, it gives you a whole bunch more freedom to work with. And especially if you heal again,
Yes,
that's
right.
another damage. So it's not something that you're always going to expect to unflip heaps of damage. But if
Yep.
you unflip 1, you're at a huge advantage because that means you don't have to hold off playing your Maha, playing your Nazae, or going off with Phantom Blaster. You'll always be a threat with Phantom Blaster if you've got that 2 counter blast up. So
That's right.
Yeah, and I think for if it's working, if you're getting the unflip off, then that's great. That's amazing. All right, we'll move on from that. We'll go to the main grade 2,
Yes.
the Blaster Dark. Got the SP one there.
Yes.
So with Blaster Dark, it's pretty straightforward. It's only a Vanguard ability.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's a vanilla 9k. But why have you gone for 3? A lot of decks opt for 2, just because they really want to search with that Javelin. But some guys do go for 4 to get that guaranteed chance. So, I mean, do you not like the style of only playing 2? It's just only for when you search with the Javelin?
Well, I still need to have the choice of manual ride it rather than searching for Javelin if I hadn't got the luck for Javelin. So that way I can make the Phantom Blaster Dragon into an 11k without relying on Blaster Javelin to pull the Blaster Dark out.
Sure.
So it just gives me the more choices as well into getting it into my hand first, just to make sure that Phantom Blaster Dragon will be an 11k later game.
Yep. And 4 too many?
And 4 is, I believe it will be slightly too many, but it can also work.
Yep.
So it's not the right way or the wrong way, but this is the way that I feel that it works mostly on me, and as well as there's too many good level 2s for Shadow Paladin as well.
Alright, so we'll go on to the last one, the 3 Mahas. I think this is a very standard number.
Yes.
A lot of people, 4 is too many because she is fairly small on her own, but that effect is amazing. It's one of the best effects. It's basically an Akane for anything in your deck.
Yes, for a great one in your deck.
Yep.
And yes, about the Maha, she is very counterblast heavy, so so yes, it's 2 to search for the great one. But the thing about it is, if you run 4, I believe it will be too many, as it will also clog up with the other cards' counterblast ability.
Yeah.
As well as it's just an 8k as well, rather than a 9k. So it is really mostly relying on the Charon to make her roll into a 16.
16, yep.
And also with the use of Maha, you kind of need to look at what the opponent's deck is about and look at what his build is. If you know that he's running to be a 11k Vanguard, you will pull a Charon out so that you will be a 16. So you will force him to guard you with a 10k. But if you know that the opponent is not running a 11k Vanguard, you can pull out a Guru Rubao instead for a 7k at the back, so she will be a 15k when attacks, and so that you can plan at later game as well for Guru Rubao to be the offensive when you need it.
Yeah.
So that's the general trick of the Maha in this deck.
Yeah, and that's a very good, that's a really nice trick, and it's something that it might take a while to notice, but basically with that, it'll give you that extra turn to stay alive because you can intercept with her and then just drop another grade 1. Because late game, it might just be due to certain playstyles, but you will get very low on grade 2s because you're going to be intercepting a lot, trying to prevent that 5th, that 6th damage.
Yes, that's right.
So you will be low on grade 2s. You might be high on grade 1s. All right, so we'll move on to the grade 3s. So we've got your 3 Phantom Blaster Dragons, your 2 Rare Metal Dragons, and 2 of the Dark Metal Dragon, and 2 of the Gigantic Charger. Right. So we'll start at the bottom because obviously this is going to be the main point of the deck. So the
Buff card, yes. The Buff card, aka the Gigantic Charger of Shadow Paladin, he is used to just pull a card out for basically just pull card out as a reinforcement. So it can be either one to be used for Phantom Blaster Dragon's sacrifice in later game. So it's generally a very good card for it synchronized well with the theme of the deck, and also it provides more card as well, rather than needing to play from your hand.
So we'll go up to the next one. This is your altar. Your not main Vanguard, but your other one, the Dark Metal Dragon. So why have you gone for 2 of these guys instead of maybe running a 4th Phantom Blaster Dragon or running the Silver Spear, as we showed before?
Right. The Dark Metal Dragon, sometimes in some of the games, I actually rewrite my Phantom Blaster Dragon into the Dark Metal Dragon instead because it's reliably a 14k hit Vanguard. So often it would just force the opponent into guarding the 14k plus the rear guard, which will add it just the Blaster Javelin. It will already hit for 20k, and with even the Guru Bao at the back, it will be 21 plus. So it forces the opponent to, no matter if he's the 10k or 11k, it will hit really hard and force the opponent to guard even more than Phantom Blaster Dragon.
Alright, so the big point of the deck, the Phantom Blaster Dragon, you've got 3 of them. I see decks running 2, I see decks running 4. I actually haven't seen a deck running 3. Why have you gone with 3?
Well, 3 is the balanced numbers of it, because 4 will sometimes just be too much now, and 2 will be really too little for the Phantom Blaster build. But it works as 3 as well, and also works at 4, so it works either way. But in this case, I got it just 3 so that I have just 1 more space for Dark Metal, so when I need to really change it to a full offensive and lower my defense, so that's why I will have more chance into drawing into Dark Metal. But most of the time you will stay at the Phantom Blaster Dragon for the balance and for the 11k defense.
I think that's been a common theme with most of the stuff that you're saying is balance. You'll see a lot of builds out there that are very brittle. They're very they need to do what they need to do, otherwise things go horribly wrong. So those builds out there, they'll typically be running 4 of the Javelin, 2 of the Blaster Dark, and then probably 2 of the Phantom Blaster. So if they don't get that grade 1, then they're really in a bad position because they're not going to have their ideal Vanguard. Most of them actually run a fair few castles as well, but the flip side of that is that when they do get the grade 1, when they can go 1, 2, 3, then they are they're on top of the world, and it's it's a lot harder to deal with than other decks. It has a lot more aggressive potential because they have those 4 castles, and they did just +1, and they also get some better more room in the grade 2s to play some other stuff. But I like balance more than that type of brutalness because mainly because Kagero is the biggest thing out there, and they will snap you like a twig. Especially if you need the specific 8Ks to hit some certain numbers. This is a very good metagame choice. we'll just talk about set 5. Anything from set 5 that you're looking forward to?
Set 5, I definitely looking forward to seeing how the meta goes with the Shadow Paladin. Definitely the new Phantom Blaster Dragon.
Phantom Blaster Overlord?
Phantom Blaster Overlord. That's correct.
Yep.
It will definitely modify the build of this deck.
Yep.
And also I've been seeing the different Shadow Paladins card as well, so those can affect the build of the deck.
So you're really looking forward to set 5?
Definitely.
Probably going to be cracking a lot of boxes then.
That's correct.
Alright. So that's the Shadow Pally deck from John and Nazae here. So if you think you've got a better build, or you just want to comment on something, ask some questions, feel free to leave something in the comments below. And we'll see you next time with another deck check.